Elon Musk stands alone, staring at a whiteboard inside a silent conference room. It's 3 a.m., and the city outside sleeps while his mind races. SpaceX is burning through money. Tesla is hanging by a thread. His eyes are bloodshot, his voice hoarse. And yet, there's no time to crash. No time to collapse. He picks up a marker, draws a line across the board, and underneath it writes 2 words, 5 minutes. That's all he's thinking about now. Not the rockets. Not the lawsuits. Not the headlines calling him delusional. Just the next 5 minutes. If you don't master your first 5 minutes, you're already behind, he once told a young engineer who froze up under pressure. And it's true. Most people wake up and lose their entire day in the first 300 seconds. They grab their phone, scroll endlessly, check 5 apps, compare themselves to 5 lives they don't live, and suddenly, their willpower is gone. Their mind is scattered. Their day never starts, even though the clock keeps ticking. Elon. He starts differently. His rule is brutal in its simplicity: don't wait. Launch. Just like a rocket. Because in spaceflight, the first 5 minutes after launch use more fuel than the rest of the journey combined. That's when a rocket fights the most drag, the most gravity, the most resistance. And it's the exact same with your life. The moment you decide to move, everything around you resists. Your brain says, let's wait. Your body says, let's stay safe. But Elon trained himself, and his entire team, to ignore that voice. He doesn't schedule a full day in advance. He doesn't wait to feel ready. He attacks the first 5 minutes with everything he's got. Because those 5 minutes determine the next 5 hours. He's not perfect. He doesn't have boundless energy. But he has one advantage: he knows how to launch when everyone else hesitates. And here's what most people never understand: the problem isn't that you're lazy. The problem is that you're stalling on the runway. Every morning is a launch pad. And you have 2 choices. Sit back and think. Or lean forward and ignite. The factory was a war zone. Not with bullets. With broken robots, software crashes, and deadlines that hung like guillotines over everyone's heads. Tesla was spiraling. Production lines were behind by months. Investors were pulling out. Media painted him as reckless, unstable. And Elon? He was sleeping on the floor. No fancy office. No luxury hotel. Just a sleeping bag under a desk in Fremont, California. One night, after 22 straight hours of failed debugging, an engineer slumped to the floor and muttered, "This is chaos. We're done." Elon turned to him, dead tired but calm. "No. This is focus. We just haven't aimed it yet." He pointed to a whiteboard. "One task. 5 minutes. That's how we fight chaos." That moment became part of Tesla legend. Instead of solving everything, they solved one thing at a time. No brainstorming marathons. Number 3-hour meetings. Just one objective, 5 focused minutes, total commitment. The difference between burnout and breakthrough? Clarity. And clarity is earned in battle, moment by moment, distraction by distraction. That's why Elon built a mental system, not a schedule. Every morning he asks, what's the single most important problem today? What can I do for 5 minutes to move towards solving it? That's it. One question. One sprint. And it works, even in hell. When the Model 3 crisis hit, Elon applied that system ruthlessly. The lines were frozen. Orders were backlogged. Wall Street laughed. But every day, Elon stepped over oil stains and steel scraps and told his team, "This is where we win. Not in theory. Here. In this moment. In this 5 minutes." It's easy to feel overwhelmed when the sky is falling. But when you shrink the battle to the next 5 minutes, you stop drowning and start moving. And moving, even slowly, is what separates survival from collapse. Most people think they need motivation to start. But Elon Musk knows better. He's not chasing motivation, he's fighting one of the oldest lies the brain tells. You don't have enough time. Think about it. You wake up. You check your phone. You tell yourself, I'll start in 10 minutes. Then 10 becomes 30, and suddenly, it's lunch. It's not that you're lazy. It's that your brain is brilliant at delaying danger, and to your brain, work is danger. It requires effort, risk, focus, uncertainty. And the mind will do anything to avoid it. So it lies to you. Wait until you have more time. Let's just check one more thing. Better to start when you're less tired. Elon Musk doesn't trust that voice. Not because he's superhuman, but because he trained himself to start anyway. In fact, when he's most exhausted, when the problems seem too big, when time is running out, that's when he uses his 5-minute override. Override the brain's lie. Act anyway. That's why he breaks huge projects, like building reusable rockets or streamlining Tesla's gigafactories, into micro-sprints. He once told a colleague, "If you can't do it for an hour, do it for 5 minutes. Start there. You'll trick your brain into letting go." And it works. Because once you begin, the resistance loses power, and motion generates clarity. This is why Elon can build companies while others build excuses. He doesn't try to win the day. He just wins the next 5 minutes. Then the next. And the next. Because when you move, momentum follows. And momentum makes time feel like it's on your side. It was Christmas Eve, 2008. SpaceX had failed 3 launches. Tesla was weeks from bankruptcy. Elon had burned through nearly all his personal fortune trying to save both. He sat alone at the office. No press. No friends. No holiday. Just silence. A silence heavy with shame, doubt, and exhaustion. People close to him later said he looked like a ghost. Emotionless. Numb. Lost. That night, he had a decision to make. Let go of one company to save the other. Or risk losing everything. Even his closest advisors begged him to choose, SpaceX or Tesla. You can't do both. He stood up from his chair, walked to the whiteboard, and wrote 2 sentences. No one else is coming, We either survive now, or we die. Then he drew a circle, Inside it, he wrote, 1 action. 5 minutes. Go. He didn't meditate, Didn't journal, Didn't call anyone for advice. He picked one emergency task, fixing investor paperwork, and did it for just 5 minutes. That turned into 10, then 20. By 3 a.m., the funding plan was complete. Within a week, he secured the final investment. Tesla was saved. And just days later, NASA awarded SpaceX $1.6 billion. Everything changed. But not because of some genius insight. It happened because Elon refused to let fear paralyze him. He trusted the smallest possible action. He fought despair not with willpower, but with movement. That's how you survive chaos. You don't defeat it all at once. You just take one clear step in the dark, even when your hands are shaking. Most people wake up and check their phone. Elon Musk wakes up and executes a mission. Every minute of his day is planned with surgical precision. He breaks time into 5-minute blocks. Not hours. Not half hours. 5-minute blocks. Why? Because 5 minutes is short enough to stay focused, but long enough to make serious progress. Each block has a target: reply to engineers, solve a battery issue, review Starship schematics, call investors, check production timelines. There's no multitasking, no winging it. It's pure, aggressive focus, like a general commanding a battlefield. Even lunch? Scheduled in a 5-minute block. He eats while replying to emails or reviewing code. Elon once said, "If something takes more than 5 minutes, I ask why, and if it can be done in 5, I ask why not." This system gives him superpowers. He doesn't lose time figuring out what to do. He just executes. Most people let the day control them. Elon controls the day like a launch sequence, step by step, no room for drift. And here's the craziest part. You don't need $1 billion company to do the same. You just need a piece of paper, a pen, and the guts to stop winging your life. Structure brings freedom. Precision creates peace. People always ask Elon, "Where do you get the motivation?" And he always gives the same cold answer. "I don't. I just do what needs to be done." Let that sink in. While most people wait for motivation to strike, Elon builds systems that ignore feelings completely. Because he knows the truth. Motivation is a trap. It's a high that disappears the moment life gets hard. And in Elon's world, hard is every day. So instead of chasing moods, he chases consistency. He builds habits that don't care if he's tired. He makes commitments that don't bend under pressure. He surrounds himself with people who expect execution, not excuses. When the rocket fails, he works. When the press attacks, he works. When his marriage collapses, and he's sleeping under his desk, he still works. It's not because he's heartless, It's because he's trained himself to act no matter what he feels. That's the secret. Success doesn't come from being in the mood, It comes from doing it even when you're not. Elon's rule? Don't wait to feel ready, Just do the next 5-minute task like your life depends on it, because one day, it will. The first hour after waking up is crucial, For most people, it's spent snoozing the alarm or scrolling through social media, But for Elon Musk, that hour is treated like a high-stakes mission. When the day begins, he doesn't waste time on fluff, There's no good morning chatter, No phone checking, No email binge. Instead, Elon starts the day with a habit that powers his entire mindset: focused thinking. Right after he opens his eyes, he goes straight into problem-solving mode. Not with a to-do list. Not with meetings, Just pure mental clarity, focusing on one critical issue that's haunting his companies. Is it a battery issue at Tesla? A rocket delay at SpaceX? A staffing problem at Neuralink? He picks one thing, He dives deep into it, like a diver plunging into a frozen lake. By the time the world wakes up, Elon already has a solution brewing. It's not about rushing to check off tasks, it's about shifting the mind into problem-solving the moment the clock starts. This morning habit is key to his success, because it sets the tone for the whole day. No distractions. No procrastination. The first thing Elon focuses on is his biggest challenge, and solving that gives him the fuel to tackle the rest of the day's battles. If you're serious about taking control of your day, try starting your morning with a similar mindset. Don't start with emails, Start with solving your biggest problem. That shift alone will change how you approach everything. In a world obsessed with multitasking, Elon Musk is a single-tasking machine. While most people juggle a dozen things at once, Elon knows something crucial. Multitasking kills focus, It shatters productivity. It wastes mental energy, And it leads to nothing but burnout. Elon learned this the hard way, Early on in his career, he tried to balance multiple projects at once: Tesla, SpaceX, SolarCity, and more. It felt like spinning plates. But he quickly realized that juggling these massive tasks wasn't getting him ahead. In fact, it was holding him back. So, he made a simple but game-changing decision. Focus on one thing at a time. That's right, single-tasking became Elon's secret weapon. He threw out the myth that success is about handling a million things at once. Instead, he found that the more he focused on just one task at a time, the faster he could solve problems, build solutions, and create real momentum. Here's the trick: whenever Elon is working on a problem, he dials into that task with everything he has. He doesn't check emails. He doesn't scroll through Twitter. He works with laser-like focus, cutting out everything else until that task is completed. This level of concentration is rare, but it's what separates Elon Musk from the rest of the world. He's not just working hard, he's working smart by eliminating distractions and committing fully to what's in front of him. If you want to boost your productivity and stop wasting energy, take a page from Elon's playbook: choose one task, go all in, and don't let anything break your focus. When you start practicing single-tasking, you'll realize how much faster you can get things done. When you're running multiple billion-dollar companies, facing constant pressure to innovate, and dealing with setbacks on a weekly, if not daily, basis, stress can be a killer. But Elon Musk doesn't seem to buckle under pressure. Instead, he manages stress like a pro. How does he do it? The answer lies in his perspective. Elon sees stress as a natural part of pursuing greatness, not something to be feared or avoided. Here's his secret: he embraces the chaos. Rather than running from problems or shying away from difficult situations, Elon heads straight for the storm, ready to tackle whatever comes his way. He doesn't let stress cloud his judgment. Instead, he uses it to fuel his work. But how does he maintain his composure while facing seemingly insurmountable challenges? It all comes down to his ability to separate personal stress from professional stress. When something goes wrong at Tesla, for example, he doesn't let it define him emotionally. He treats setbacks like an engineering problem, something to be fixed, not something to make him anxious. Elon also practices what some might call a hyperproductive mindset. When stress hits, instead of spiraling, he channels it into action. He doubles down, works harder, and looks for ways to solve problems more efficiently. And importantly, he's never afraid to take risks. To Elon, risk isn't something to be scared of, it's a chance to test his limits, make progress, and learn. Every failure is a lesson. If you want to manage stress like Elon, here's what you need to do. 1. Shift your mindset, see stress as a challenge, not a threat. 2. Focus on solutions, not problems. 3. Embrace discomfort, growth happens outside your comfort zone. When you adopt this mindset, stress becomes just another tool to drive you forward. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, and for someone like Elon Musk, who balances multiple groundbreaking companies, it's a precious commodity. So, how does Elon manage his time so effectively? It's all about prioritization and hyper-efficiency. Elon doesn't have time to waste on mindless tasks or distractions. Every minute of his day is strategically planned and spent doing what matters most. Here's how he does it. 1. He breaks his day into 5-minute blocks. This method is often referred to as the 5-minute rule because every task he does is given a precise amount of time. Elon plans out his day so that he can achieve maximum productivity in each block of time. This level of detail helps him stay focused and ensures that every minute is spent moving toward his goals. 2. He eliminates unnecessary meetings. Elon is famously known for cutting down on long, drawn-out meetings. He understands that too many meetings can kill productivity and drain time. So, he keeps meetings short, sharp, and to the point, sometimes even just 5 minutes. If a meeting doesn't add value, he simply skips it. 3. He maximizes his time by batching tasks. Rather than jumping from one type of work to another, Elon batches similar tasks together to reduce the cognitive load of switching between them. For example, he'll focus on all engineering-related issues at once and then shift to business strategy later. By grouping tasks, he avoids unnecessary transitions and maximizes focus during each session. 4. He prioritizes his time based on impact. Elon spends his time on the activities that have the highest return on investment. For instance, if he's brainstorming for SpaceX or Tesla, he'll ask, what decision here will move the company forward the most? He focuses on high-leverage activities that can make the biggest difference. 5. He embraces work-life balance in his own way. While it might seem like Elon works around the clock, he also makes sure to schedule time for rest and recharge. His version of balance is making sure he's at his best when he's working, so he doesn't burn out. Elon's approach to time management isn't about packing as much into the day as possible, it's about doing the right things, and doing them well. If you start treating your time as your most precious resource and begin using Elon's 5-minute blocks and prioritization strategy, you can get much more done in a day. Elon Musk's success didn't come from playing it safe. It came from embracing failure and using it as a stepping stone toward greatness. If you've ever looked at Elon's career, you've probably noticed that failure is a recurring theme. Tesla nearly went bankrupt, SpaceX's rockets exploded, and Elon's companies have faced countless near-death experiences. But instead of letting failure define him, Elon used it to learn, grow, and ultimately succeed. So, why does Elon seem to celebrate failure? For Elon, failure is simply part of the innovation process. He doesn't see failure as a roadblock, he sees it as feedback. When things go wrong, it's not an indication to quit, it's an opportunity to understand what went wrong and make the next iteration better. Here's how he looks at failure. 1. Failure is an experiment. Every time something doesn't work, it's like a scientific experiment. The data he gets from failure helps him understand how to improve his designs, processes, and ideas. Each failure gives him the information he needs to make smarter decisions moving forward. 2. Failure teaches resilience. Elon's ability to bounce back after failure is one of his most defining traits. When his first SpaceX rockets exploded, instead of throwing in the towel, he doubled down on his efforts. He knew that resilience in the face of failure was the key to achieving greatness. 3. Failure leads to innovation. Many of Elon's greatest breakthroughs came after a major failure. Take Tesla's electric cars. At first, everyone doubted that electric vehicles could ever compete with traditional cars. But instead of accepting that failure, Elon used it to push forward and reinvent the automobile industry. He used failure as a foundation for innovation. 4. Failure is a test of character. How you handle failure defines who you are. Elon's ability to stay focused and stay positive during tough times has inspired many. He has shown that it's not the failure that matters, but how you respond to it. Failure is simply the moment when you decide to either quit or rise up and try again. If you want to achieve something truly remarkable, you need to embrace failure just like Elon. Don't be afraid of setbacks, they are the building blocks of success. The more you fail, the closer you get to achieving your goals. Elon Musk is often described as one of the most driven people in the world. From building electric cars and reusable rockets to planning colonization on Mars, his motivation seems limitless. So, how does Elon keep himself motivated day after day, despite the challenges and setbacks? The truth is, Elon's motivation doesn't come from the typical sources, like money or fame. For Elon, his motivation is deeply rooted in something much more profound, a mission. Elon's ultimate secret to staying motivated is simple yet powerful. He focuses on solving big, world-changing problems. Whether it's addressing climate change, advancing human space exploration, or making sustainable energy accessible to everyone, Elon's grand vision drives him. This mission gives him purpose, a sense of meaning that goes far beyond personal success. Here's how Elon stays motivated. 1. He sets audacious goals. Elon doesn't aim for the ordinary. Instead, he targets bold, world-altering goals. For example, the idea of colonizing Mars might seem impossible to most people, but to Elon, it's just a step toward the larger mission of making humanity a multiplanetary species. This bigger picture keeps him moving forward, no matter how tough things get. 2. He believes in long-term rewards. Elon isn't just working for today's paycheck or today's success. He's working for a future where the world is better for everyone. This vision of the future is what keeps him focused when others might give up. He's willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for the long-term good of humanity. 3. He thrives on impact, not accolades. While many people are motivated by fame or recognition, Elon cares most about the impact he has. He doesn't need constant praise to keep moving forward, he's driven by the results of his work. For Elon, the real reward is knowing that his projects are making a positive difference in the world. 4. He breaks down his massive goals. Despite having audacious goals, Elon is a master of breaking them down into manageable tasks. Instead of focusing on the enormity of building a billion-dollar company or getting to Mars, he takes each challenge one step at a time. By focusing on what can be accomplished today, he maintains momentum toward his ultimate goal. 5. He doesn't give up. Perhaps the biggest secret to Elon's motivation is simply that he never quits. No matter how hard things get, no matter how many failures occur, Elon keeps going because his mission is bigger than any obstacle. His ability to persevere is what has propelled him to the extraordinary levels of success he's achieved. If you want to stay motivated like Elon, remember this: find your mission, set your sights on something bigger than yourself, and commit to it with everything you have. When your purpose is clear and your mission is important, motivation comes naturally.